is about abundance for the ministry. What Yvonne and I are doing, abundance for personal development. And so that'll come later with hopefully the other person who created that particular exercise. So this one I thought I'd spin for the abundance for the ministry, because in our outreach and marketing meetings, we've been talking about what can we be doing better to enhance the ministry and to bring more abundance in not only attendance, but membership and any other kind of interaction. So we've talked about blog posts, and we've talked about presence on the site, and we've talked about referrals. But this is kind of meant for us to go inward and talk about, okay, how can we as individuals collectively do more and become, the next level of a ministry that's a greater whole than some of its individual parts. So you'll get to see that in just a second. And we are a 501c3 organization. We're listed on GuideStar. So this will give us opportunities if we attract somebody who has some experience in raising funds for nonprofits. That could be a way for us to continue to thrive. Here's where I have to learn how to use this slideshow in its bigger form. Swipe. So abundance comes in many forms, and I put this together, and Carrie, you can identify which one was for you, the doggy treats, right? I tried to think of everybody in the ministry and say, some of us like nature and water and sun. Some of us like the money. Some of us in the lower right like the well-being or the love or the, just the sense of energetic fulfillment. On the lower left, you've got happy people and you've got families. On the bottom, it's food, and up top, it's water. And a lot of us like to read and write, that sort of thing. So I was thinking, when we do these mantras or these affirmations of abundance, it's not always about money. A lot of people just correlate it to money, and you'll see in the exercises that we get to choose from, 2 of them are about financial abundance. So we get to pick. Oops, it's the wrong way. So this is a story, and it's about the whole being more than just the individual parts. So would anybody like to read this part of the story?
I will.
I'll read.
Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead, Carrie. It's okay.
I'll read first. I'm getting ready. I've still got a bit of a sore throat, so I'm going to drink some coffee. So let me read first.
Yeah.
No problem.
Warm coffee, which I never have. The radiant orchid. Deep in the lush rainforest, an orchid bloomed, a solitary purple flower on a thin green stem. Alone, it was a simple beauty, but this orchid carried within it something far greater. One day, a butterfly alighted on the orchid's velvety petals. As it drank the nectar, some of the orchid's pollen became stuck to the butterfly's body. When the butterfly flitted to the next orchid, the pollen intermingled, allowing cross-pollination to occur. From this exchange, an evolutionary marvel took shape. Seeds gestated within the orchid's pod, containing genetic material combined with different orchid plants. These seeds sprouted into new orchids of kaleidoscopic variety: muddy red, vibrant orange, sunshine yellow, and fuchsia, blended in intricate fractal pattern blooms. What emerged was greater than what the individual orchids alone could produce. Through synergy, entirely new possibilities for the proliferation of orchid life unveiled.
And this is interesting because to me, that's what our ministry is about, is each of us as individuals are wonderful by ourselves, but collectively we can do so much more. So Yvonne, do you want to take this one?
Aristotle, the ancient Greek philosopher, recognized this phenomenon, stating, "The whole is greater than the sum of its parts." He saw how individual components, by joining together, can produce novel properties and capabilities. So too does our ministry. The 20th century visionary Buckminster Fuller, sorry, I think the font is smaller on this one, sorry. Buckminster Fuller expounded on this, saying the universe is profoundly biased for a mutual relationship. He realized the power of synergistic interactions to create complex systems supporting life's evolution and abundance. Anthropologist Margaret Mead simplified its beauty. It simplified it beautifully. The solution to the problems of one person create incredible possibilities for all people. By combining our ideas, skills, and perspectives, we can manifest wonders beyond what any of us could achieve alone. Like those remarkable rainforest orchids, when we unite across our diversity and differences, we can birth creative genius and robustly resilient systems flourishing in dynamically interwoven fractal pattern cooperation, evolving into a whole far greater than our individual parts. Perhaps this, the unfolding of the manifesto for our ministry.
Any thoughts or reflections on that?
I think there's not a single place that I don't think collaborative work is more powerful and more impactful. I mean, I see that in business. I see that just a little bit of everywhere.
Yeah.
The problem with all of that can be sometimes the working together and those, working out the kinks of all of those wheels turning at the same time. But when that is created, I think some of the largest masterpieces happen.
Yeah, I agree. All right. So this was the poem that we had in the newsletter. Laura or Kevin, would you like to read this?
Kevin, you're on mute.
Yep, I will.
Okay.
In the circle of our gathering, where unity takes flight, abundance blooms within us, a beacon in the night. At Madonna Interfaith, where spirit's light is bright, we seek to raise abundance with hearts and hands held tight. Abundance in our giving, in every act of care, in moments of compassion, and the love we freely share. It flows through every member, in each intention true, a wealth that grows together in everything we do. We find it in the sunlight, in the water's gentle flow, in the nourishment of food and seeds that we sow. It's in the air we breathe, in the warmth of each embrace, in the bonds we strengthen in this sacred space. The mind's creative power, a source of endless gain, in every thought and vision, in wisdom's gentle rain. Abundance in our learning, in the knowledge we impart, expanding with our mission, in the openness of heart. And in our spirit's essence, abundance is most pure, in the peace of shared purpose, in the faith that's always sure. It's in the unity of vision, in the dreams we dare to weave, in the trust we build together, in the truths we all believe. So let us raise abundance for MIC's divine cause, in every act of kindness, in every life it draws. For in this shared endeavor, we find a greater whole, a wealth that's boundless, healing every soul. May our gifts flow freely like rivers to the sea, creating waves of plenty for all humanity. In the heart's sincere compassion, in the spirit's guiding light, we cherish and remember abundance day and night.
Thank you. Nice. So now we have group practices. And this, I was inspired because I got to listen to Sally's presentation last week, where each of you got to share what you wanted to be recognized for. And in that reflection, it was so emotional, even just watching it. It's like, I wish I could have participated. I would have been able to experience it fully. But I don't know if any of you want to share what went down and how that felt for you. And I wanted to kind of give you an option. We have 5 exercises and we get to choose 1 or 2 that we want to do today. Any thoughts on the reflections from last week on the Mother's Day?
Well, I found it really profound and incredibly emotional. And I realized afterwards I hadn't said thank you, but at that point I couldn't say anything. I was
Nice.
just so overcome. But as a result, I've had an incredible week.
Wonderful.
I've been studying spiritually all week, about 8 hours a day. And, I've kind of honed in on 2 topics for a while that I hope will advance me spiritually.
Awesome.
But the profound effect of that whole exercise
Yeah,
and blessing others,
right.
I
Yeah.
think had a lot to do with the blessing of others blesses ourselves
Mm-hmm.
in a way, you
Yeah.
know. And I just found the whole exercise really profound.
That's awesome. And I noticed you were able to post that, so it's available for replay for anybody who missed it. So I loved it too. And it's like, oh, we need to do more of that. And so these guided exercises are meant to give possibility for what we might do to keep that going in our lives. And I've got ongoing practice stuff I'll share with you later, but this is stuff we can do today. So if you want to, we can choose to either do a collective blessing, which is similar to last week, but on a smaller level, where you just basically state what you wish to have abundance of in your life, anything from those images or anything else that's going on in your life, maybe the two practices that you're starting with, Kevin. And then we all affirm that with saying, so it is, or we bless this. Or we could do an abundance meditation, which I would love to have someone who loves to guide meditations. I could do something, but I'm not sure it's meant on abundance. It's more about clearing energy, etc. So that's an option as well. And then part 3, gratitude circle, where we go around the circle and we each say what we're grateful for. And then each of us gets to expand on that, or maybe like last week, affirm it and bless it, etc. And I think Yvonne would like to do this one. The other 2 are on money, which is prosperity, and I can't stay on there. There we are. Pitching a business idea or pitching what we can do with the ministry as the next step on this, hoping to be able to facilitate each of our services and classes for sale. That could be a possibility as well for an exercise. And then the last one, money burning. If we have like an abalone shell or something that we use incense with, we could write down our aspirations for having money in our life and burn them physically with each other. So those are some ideas. Any thoughts on what you would prefer to do? Or do you want to just start with Yvonne, who likes this one, the gratitude? See where we go.
I like the gratitude one.
Okay. Let's do that. Let's face
Okay.
each other.
So, yeah, we are facing each other, our virtual facing each other. And here I am. I'm covered up in a blanket leaning on my desk, but I will shift that. Let's see.
Who says gratitude?
There we go. See, covered up in a
All
blanket,
right.
sitting on
There
my
you
desk. So things to be grateful for. Today, I was grateful that a young man that I've reconnected with came and changed my tire for me, though he was supposed to come at 2 and I was in the tub and the dogs were going crazy. And I was like, someone's in my yard. It was still great that he came and did that. And so now I have a spare on there that's half flat instead of fully flat. And I'll go deal with that after we get off. But anyway, so I'm grateful for that. And I'm grateful that people have stepped up. It's a trying time for me.
Yeah,
And I'm very, very grateful that people have stepped up and helped where they can. And that's a beautiful thing.
definitely. It reminds us too that we do have the ability to ask for help as
Mm-hmm.
well as be in a position to receive.
Mm-hmm.
I think is the
Both are
hardest for some
important.
of us.
Yes, both are important. I never liked being someone that received. I preferred being the giver. I've got, I think, 4 or 5 signs in Virgo, so service is like my world. But when I became a single mom, all of that shifted. So anyway, would anyone else care to talk about what they're grateful for? Cindy, what about you?
Grateful. I am grateful that I continue to do the work I do, although I'm being challenged with my recent news of my brother having cancer. So being a caretaker for 47 years, it's been an eye-opener having somebody in the family and trying to be strong and supportive because you're the only one there for him, because I'm just one of two in our family and our parents are gone. So it's challenging, but I am grateful that I have the strength to do this and be strong for him. I seem to have all the strength in the world for my clients, but it's challenging. So I'm trying to stand in gratitude for what I do. But again, asking for guidance and strength to do it. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, and we're grateful that we have many people who deal with this on a caregiving at end stages of life or within disease, etc.
Mhm. Yep.
So the people to lean on.
Mhm. Yep. But then
Thank you.
I'm reminded of what the gift of knowing what my purpose is in life. So I always go back to the gratitude of what I do, because, not everybody knows what they're here for or what they're supposed to do. Some people
Mhm.
conflicted with that. And I feel blessed that I feel very strongly that this is why I was put on earth, to do what I do.
Mhm. Beautiful.
Not everybody can do your work.
Thank you, Kevin.
Well,
It's
Kevin's
challenging.
Kevin's on the other side of it. He was a mortician for years and
Yeah. Yeah.
dealing with the whole after effect of what you guys
Hmm.
are going through.
Right. That's it. But doesn't it give you like so much more gratitude, Kevin, for life? You know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
yes. I
You
don't
know,
understand death, but I certainly appreciate life.
absolutely.
I saw a 10-year-old girl skip off to school at 8:30 in the morning, and she died of a heart attack at 10.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
And that just stopped you in your tracks.
Absolutely.
But I would actually think, Kevin, that with that particular job, your main piece is that you're doing a ceremonial piece for those who have passed, but really more for those that are letting go of someone.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
think
Mm.
it's
My work was
even
with the families.
exactly more the families than the person that's passed.
10% of it was funeral.
Mhm.
90% was family.
Doesn't
Getting
surprise
a
me.
family through this. And like when my parents died, it's as though I'd never been to a funeral in my life.
Mm.
Wow.
And I appreciated my job when I just let them get me through the next 3 days, which is basically what I'm doing.
Yeah. Who would like to go next?
Well, I appreciate this ministry. 4 years ago, I had a reading done, and during the reading, Madonna Ministry was mentioned 3 times. So I thought, well, I'll check that out. And here I am 4 years later. And it was nice. The day we had the woman who did all the readings, she mentioned in that my father was glad I had found this ministry and that I felt at home. And it certainly is the case. It supports me in so much I want to do and that I do, and I really appreciate that. And I wish everybody could be as appreciative of what we do here. And I
Mhm.
don't say that from an ego point of view. I say that from an emotional point of view, that every one of them could
Mhm.
feel as blessed and secure as what the rest of us here feel. I want to spread that love.
We feel that from you, and it's so wonderful.
Mm. And
Easy
it's a
to
blessing to
show up.
have you in
Yeah.
ministries, Kevin. You bring a lot to the ministries.
Well done.
Who would like to go next? Share something that they're grateful for.
I will. Mine's probably obvious, but I will.
Maybe, maybe not.
I'm as always grateful for medicine and science and people who are passionate enough to make that their lives work, and not only to do that work at the current levels we are now, but to push forward, to innovate, to find new ways to solve the problems that face us, both in our physical bodies and in our culture and our society. Because simple things like surgery, simple or not, have come, oh my gosh, in 10 years has changed so dramatically in so many ways. And that is amazing to me, that we have the brain power, the capability to do these things, but then people choose to, because it's not necessarily this richly rewarding career that people think it is. It's incredibly hard work. It's, hard on the people who do it. It's hard on their bodies and hard on them emotionally and physically. And still, there's that driving passion to care for people, which is just vitally important. And I'm also, Yvonne, I have a hard time asking for help. That's a big challenge for me. So I am grateful to have a community who allowed me to say, hey, I'm worried about this, or I want to talk about this, or you can't always talk to your family about things like this. So it was very helpful to me just to have someone to talk to, someone to share with, someone to say, hey, I'm doing okay, or someone to just check in, hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
So that's been incredibly helpful, and grateful for big dogs who like little pink squeaky toys. That's the Great Dane with a little pink squeaky toy.
That's cute.
No bias there.
I know Paula's laying down with a headache, but what about you, B or Laura?
Yeah, I'll go. I'm really grateful to still be here. I've been through a heart attack. I've been through a few surgeries. This last one really took me out. I'm grateful for my friends who stepped up and did my laundry and my grocery shopping and took me to doctor's appointments. And I mean, for 3 months, it's been a nightmare, and they've all been there for me. It's just been incredible. I don't even know how to thank them. I'm grateful for my ability to work with hospice patients, to give them peace and understanding when they're in their last phase of life. I'm grateful for my daughter and my granddaughters, who have been very supportive. And right now, my ex-husband, my daughter's father, is in hospice and is not doing well at all. And my daughter has been there every day with him, and that really amazes me, because they've never had a great relationship. But she's been there every day, all day long, for the past 3 days, and calls me when she gets home and gives me an update. She's turned out to be quite an amazing woman, so I'm really proud of her. I'm very grateful for the honor that was bestowed upon me by my town. I'm still reeling from that. Even my next door neighbor, the night of the field naming, gave me a necklace that says, I love it, I won't take it off. It's a circle It's a little softball and it's a little heart, and it says, she believed she could and she did.
Ah,
That's awesome.
I love that.
I'll never take that off. I love that.
I love that.
And the people that came and showed up, I mean, women that I played softball with in the 70s showed
Yeah.
up that night that I haven't seen since then to congratulate me. And oh, it was overwhelming and humbling, and just feel so honored. I can't even express what that felt like, to see my name on the top of a softball field.
Awesome.
Pretty amazing. Whew. I'm grateful for my abilities with my Reiki, my sound healing. I'm grateful that my path led me to all of that, and that's my purpose, is to share what I learn. I'm a sharer. I share everything I learn with anybody that wants to listen.
Yeah.
Even my PT and OT people that still come to the house, I've even shared my bowls with them, and some of my wave drum and some other stuff. And I'm amazed and overwhelmed with gratitude for the things that I've learned and that I'm able to share them with people. That's it.
We're grateful for you too. Oh, and you had your special decade birthday this year too.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
that was amazing too.
Mhm.
A surprise party with like 30 some of my friends. Whew, amazing.
It kind of makes me, before you had your birthday, you were, having reservations. Look how wonderful life has been for you
Right.
since your
I
birthday.
know. It's been amazing.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a tough birthday, I'll tell you.
Wow. Yeah,
But everything's been happening since then. So you're right.
my
Very
tough
grateful I'm
birthday
still
was
here.
my tough birthday was when I was 19, turning 20.
Oh,
I was no longer a teenager, and I had this whole midlife crisis kind of thing at 19. Now you know, there's a poem that goes through my head constantly, that you have a choice, grow old or die young. Well, I missed young. So now I have a choice. I'm going to try and grow old gracefully. The only thing I wish is that I had more gray hair. Honestly, I'd love to be Snow White, Santa Claus on 2 feet,
Yeah, they have bleaches for that.
No, not that you can go gray. You can go
That's true.
platinum, but not
That's
gray.
true. That's true.
Okay.
I love my gray hair, Kevin. I do. I've just got a little bit, but I love it. Because my hair's so like yours, my hair's dark, and it's just great to see those little highlights. I've never been upset about a gray hair. I love them.
Oh, I'm proud of every gray hair I'm growing.
I've earned everyone. Every
Well,
single one of them.
me too.
I think I have to.
I definitely have. So, B, I saw that in the chat you just said gratitude. Would you like to share any more, or are you complete with that?
I can share.
Oh, great.
Yeah, the thing that's coming up for me right now and thinking about that is I'm really grateful for my mom. Both my parents, my dad has passed though, but she's just a tough lady, she's like done so much stuff and like been through so much, and she's just really like there for me as a huge support, and I really, really appreciate it. And like part of that is like I guess I want to like when I think about my life and like what I've gone through and like what I'm working on doing next, you know, we all think about the good things that we've done and the negative things that we're experiencing too. And I had a major like health challenge that kind of knocked me out for like a while, you know, like years out of my life. And so I live in a house that, you know, my mom owns, and I don't have to worry about rent right now. And I'm super grateful. And that's allowing me to work on this new business. And with having been diagnosed late in life with autism and ADHD, and that was at the tail end of like recovering from the black mold health crisis avalanche that I was buried under. It's interesting. Like I was trying to figure out like what can I do in the second chapter of my life as I was like getting better from that. And then this opportunity to start these businesses came up. And because of my mom, I'm able to pursue it because she was, I mean, she's so generous. She actually said to my business partner, whose roommate stopped paying rent in November because he was like having an alcoholic crisis, I guess. He, you know, was like a Craigslist roommate, and it was fine until it just wasn't, you know. And so she's so generous. She just was fine with him moving back in because he used to live here before, and he offered him free rent while we, you know, save up money for this business. And I want to acknowledge that, like, you know, she's worked really hard, and she's like, you know, like I said earlier, like been through a lot. But also I recognize that part of that is like the baby boomer generational wealth, and like there's white privilege that's in there. Like, you know, my parents were able to borrow money to buy a house, and like, you know, my dad and my mom, neither one of them have college degrees, and yet, you know, they were able to work jobs where they became successful, and like, you know, they started a business together that has been going on for about 3 decades now, and it's really successful. And you know, I think that's something that like some families of color, like they wouldn't have had the same like privileges back in the 70s to be able to borrow the money to do those things probably. And I just want to like be very mindful and like recognize that as I like am helped by the tail end of that, because like I also see that the newest generation of young adults is not going to have the same opportunities. I mean, now there's so much pressure to go to college, and then you leave and you are in debt for decades after that. Like you don't have the opportunity to buy the house because you're paying off the student loans. And yeah, that's like a lot of what was going through my mind when I was thinking about that. I'm like grateful for support, emotional and financial, and like all the circumstances that lined up. And I'm really hoping to parlay that into supporting and helping a lot more people with what we're starting. So yeah, that's what I'm grateful for today.
Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah.
So
Mhm.
Charlie, just to kind of get you up to speed, where we're going around and talking about what we're grateful for and appreciating the abundance that we do have. Nikki or Charlie, I'm assuming, so Paula, unless you unmute, I'm going to assume you're still laying down and hopefully getting some rest as you're listening.
Letting the migraine dissipate. As you hear our
Exactly.
gratitudes and our abundances.
Exactly.
It's leaving, and I'm grateful for that.
Yay, good, good. That's great. Do you want to
I'm
share
actually
anything more?
sure. Yeah, I'm grateful that I lived for 75 years or almost 75 years. I'm grateful that I still have people I can serve. and that I am able to meet different people all the time who are helping me with my book and my painting and my life. But I'm also grateful that my trailer is paid for. My husband is so good at finances that I never really have to worry that I just spent $59 on a new bathing suit. Um, it's the little things in my life that I'm really grateful for. We don't, have a traditional pot, but we don't care. We live in the woods. We have good neighbors who are providing us with more wood than I will ever want in my yard. I don't have a yard anymore. I have wood. But that is something to be really grateful for because everybody is bringing it to us now. Matthew doesn't have to go collect it. So life is good, and I am grateful for all of you and the gifts that you have, and the fact that we have learned to support each other and give to each other, even if it's just a text. I'm with you in spirit, or hey, how are you doing? Can I help? Even though I'm 400 miles away, we are a good core of people, and I pray every day that the universe sends us lots more so that we can help more people be happy and healthy, and because many of us are in that field of health and energy work. So I'm just grateful to be here and for everything that I have, even though it's a mess. It's my mess. I like it that way. um, and to be able to find a new passion at 75 is, for me, incredible. I've never really had a true passion, I don't think. Even though nursing, I could be passionate about my patients, but it was not my passion. Painting has become my passion, and I'm sure Charlie of all of us understands that completely because it seems to be his passion as well. um,
That's
so
awesome.
yeah, I'm just glad we're all here and here for each other, because not a lot of people have that. We have it, we give it, and you're all just fantastic, and I appreciate you being in my life.
Thank you, Paula. And we appreciate you stepping in such a leadership role because you weren't going to have any of it a couple of years ago. And it's like, this was like night and day. It's like, this is beautiful. It is as it should be, right?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Arnold.
Yes. Thank you, Arnold.
So, Nikki or Charlie, would you like to share?
Charlie, you want to go?
Okay, I'll give it a go. I looked at the subject matter this morning and it looked like we were talking about prosperity. Are we still doing that?
Yes, but it's our
Prosperity is
gratitude.
one piece. Yes.
Yes,
Oh,
and so
okay.
we're on the part of talking about our gratitude for the abundance that we do have in our lives.
Yes, I'm a very strong believer in the constant prayer of gratitude because it keeps the windows of our spiritual evolution and involvement more open rather than closed. But I think for all of us, certainly for me, um, when we're faced with a major dilemma in our life or antagonist that's so powerful, it's hard to be grateful at that moment. Um, the tendency is to want to, fight, strike back, make wrong, and it's a strong tendency. But through the prayer of gratitude and through the practice of gratitude, it's like building up a spiritual muscle for the time that we need it when it's most critical. And it's usually those times where we're confronted with something very distasteful, or some very angry person, or someone's doing a dastardly deed against us. So those are the more challenging times. But through the prayer of gratitude and an attitude of altitude, that we are able to transmute it or rise above it and respond in a kinder way. So, gratitude. I also have some quotes from Catherine Ponder, who was the most elegant and most often thought of when it came to prosperity, because she taught many classes, wrote many books on the subject. She was excellent. Have you talked about her this morning?
No,
No.
please share.
Okay, well, I'll do it later after. Niki, you let us know.
Okay. So I'm grateful for you, Charlie, because you've been a cornerstone to this ministry ever since I've been in it. So it's like you and Shirley have been the leaders, El Supremo, and always happy to have your wisdom imparted on us when we need it. And so very grateful for that. And for the ministry, to me, you know, it's been something that's been there for years for me. And I even took a break, you know, during the break, I took a break because I was doing my own thing back in Hawaii. And I was still connected because I had Diane in my life and I had Jenny in my life. And these people were just still very connected to the ministry itself. And so I was able to live vicariously through you, even while I was taking care of business. And when I came back, it was more of the opportunity because things had evolved and shifted to say, oh, you know, maybe we can play a new role or maybe we can generate new energy to help this ministry vibrate at a different place. And so I've been studying various things and each of you inspire it, you know, so like the psychic mediumship or any of the near-death experiences that we've had come as speakers, talking about how just like you say, Charlie, the eternal gratitude and always trying to raise ourselves beyond. And it's not even just vibrating at a higher level, it's more what you talk about is transmutation or transformation, transmutation, taking that energy and having it mean something else. And so as I listen to podcasts and as I kind of hear people out that have gone through various experiences, I'm finding an overall pattern. And the pattern is really starting to complement, and I've shared this before, between the science background that I studied and the spiritual background of physics and quantum physics, and how energy fields are now complementing each other and being embraced by both scientists and spiritualists alike, and finding that this synergy, and we did talk about Buckminster Fuller earlier about synchronicity and people coming together and being able to collaborate and do more things as a collective whole, rather than the sum of each of our parts. Because each of us individually can do a lot, but we can only do a vertical, right? When we all come together, there's like this massive energetic force that takes us to even new levels. And so each one of us are enhanced and augmented by each other. And to me, that's what inspires me. It's like I can be so much better by having you in my back pocket or by my side or as my mentor. And so I'm very grateful to be here and to have this collective group of people and all of the other fingers on the hand of the ministry that influence my life that I can bring to you and share when things happen. And so it's just been fun to kind of find that integration. It's like a mycelium network. So as mushrooms grow and feed and root systems grow and feed the forest or rainforest, or in the mushroom case, the entire planet, there's a wisdom that's transmuted and what is it called? What's the teleportation where you can literally speak? There's like this story about 100 monkeys, where if 100 monkeys get a collective experience in their mindset, they can transmute that or transpond or transport that data to somebody who are to other monkeys that are thousands of miles away. And there's no communication, there's no phone, no internet. They don't have any other way except that the world, the earth, this mycelium network has an energy that literally can coexist at the same time. And so that to me is really inspiring. And it gives me the hope that these collective patterns of positivity and mindset over illness and mindset over adversity are possible. And so knowing that those things are possible, even though we know we need to address the shadow, we need to address the negative, we need to go through misery to find the joy, right? Embrace it, feel it, get through it, and find that joy again, because to me, that's what's worth living for. So the unconditional love is why I'm in it and why I stay.
Thank you.
And I'm so grateful for these Sunday Zooms because I learn something every Sunday. They're amazing. I have a whole notebook full of notes from when we first started these Sunday Zooms. I have a full notebook, and I'm starting a second one with all the things that I've learned and all the experiences that we've had. So I'm really grateful for these Sunday Zooms.
Thank you. And that's part of why we were talking about abundance for the ministry, because it shows up in ways that we might not be able to define in any one thought process, right? But when we start sharing and collectively capturing it, like in that notebook, that's a legacy notebook. That would be something very interesting to think about. You know, what do we do with that now that we have AI? It takes
That's great.
information and it creates all kinds of new opportunities for us.
That AI stuff freaks me right out. I don't know why, but it does.
Wow. Yeah. I
Like,
think of it
come
as
on
a
now.
play field rather than control or power. Yeah. But I understand, and it can be scary. There are some people that are very concerned about it. But
So now who do we believe? You know?
yeah.
I don't know. It's crazy.
Well, that's why I'm listening to podcasts of both sides of the story, because I want to hear it all. I want to understand, okay, what should I be fearing? Because maybe my, survival brain isn't kicking in because I'm thinking of the playtime, right? The fun stuff. But the survival brain needs to be aware that, and Greg Braden brought it up. I talked about this a couple weeks ago. He brought up the fact that kids who are working on VR headsets are not necessarily learning to be creative. They're being told what is entertaining, but they're not creating it themselves. So the brain synapses are not firing. And so we need to be concerned about that. We need to stand up and be our humanness, because to me, that's where the creativity comes in. And Carrie, you probably have some really amazing things to talk about here, because I use AI to help me write, but you use writing to stimulate your creativity. And to me, that's a bigger and more badass way to kind of assert yourself in this world. Whereas I'm using it as a tool just to make me more. I'm doing more, but I think you're doing it because it's coming through you, right?
I think any sort of communication is vital, period.
Yeah.
I do think it's unnerving that younger folks aren't learning to do it for themselves. That worries me. That really does, because I don't want to be dependent on, because one of the things I didn't mention that I'm grateful for, which is blinding about this, is my brain.
Yeah.
My favorite organ. I've always been aware that I'm so fortunate to have a very well-functioning brain. It's just one of those things. I've been, like I said, my whole life I've been aware of that. But it's partly because I've put a lot of work into it. It's been my focus.
Yeah.
I want to learn how to think. I want to learn how to. We've been taking writing classes nonstop since 2014 because there's always more I can learn. And the idea of giving up that process of taking this thing that's not related and this thing that's not related and putting together and making something brand new, giving that up and handing that control over to something outside the human mind does give me great pause, because once it's something you have to learn to do. You might have the drive to do it, but you learn to do it. You practice. It's like any muscle. Creativity is like any muscle. And handing that over to something outside of human consciousness does worry me greatly.
Yeah. I think I shared, there's a podcast of two people that don't believe in the hereafter and two people that do. And they were comparing how AI is going to influence them and what choices they're making for their own bodies. And so on the side where they didn't believe in the hereafter, they only believe in our human physical experience. They said, one of them said, I'm willing to turn it over to AI because I think they'll do a better job of keeping me alive longer. I want to stay as long as I can. Whereas on the metaphysical side, it's like, this is where humans need to have their experience and learn the lessons that they're brought back to do, right? To become bigger and more vast in the cosmos. And so allowing us to maintain that control over the tech. The tech is nothing but a tool, and it's just a tool like the phone, you know? They went to the moon on stuff less than this, and I use this every day, and I don't fear it. But AI is kind of a similar thing. It's like it's vastly beyond what the phone became from day one, but it's not necessarily meant to take over. And I'll be damned if I'll let it happen. I enjoy what I do. So I use it as a tool to help.
I agree wholeheartedly, Nikki. Everything we've invented, we in humanity, has become a tool.
Yeah.
Electricity was a startling tool, right? It scared people. Yes, you could be electrocuted. There's a lot of things you didn't understand. So, like any other disruptor that can change, we can be frightened.
Yeah.
Now, we watched a wonderful lady on a news broadcast the other day who is losing her eyesight and losing her ability to hear. And she has such a positive mental attitude. She doesn't let that get her down. She allows that to propel her into whatever she does. And her mantra is so simple and so beautiful. She says, you breathe in peace and you breathe out fear. Breathe in peace and breathe out fear. So fear is the crippling aspect of progress, abundance, or anything else in our life. So, but when we're in an attitude of gratitude, or for when we're in an attitude of breathing in peace, it elicits that within our whole mindset. And that helps us. And I agree, it's a tool, and we're going to learn how to use the tool. Now, one thing the tool doesn't do that humanity does so well is creativity. The power of humanity has made this AI. AI can't be creative in itself. It can accumulate all the information it's gathered and assimilate it faster than humanity, and will give us faster answers to situations like health or anything else like that. But creativity is God given, and it comes through the spiritual awareness, through our intuitive process. That AI can't do.
Yeah, B makes a good point because with AI, it has a bias because of what it's been fed and the things that it knows. It doesn't create beyond that, except other maybe formulations of the same thing. But what B is saying, she laughs at the hallucinations, and the hallucinations are what it makes up from what it's been fed. And it's like, oh, well, the end of that story wasn't quite accurate. So we as humans have to correct it and say, oh, no, put the reference in response to where you got that data, because to me, it doesn't sound right. And even some of them are becoming conversant. Oh, that's a good point. I'm really glad you brought that up. Let me try again. And so they'll go through and they'll let you question it and move it into the direction of something that's actual truth.
I have one question before we end the discussion.
Yeah.
The flyer that came out on the email
Uh-huh.
that described prosperity, who's the author of that?
That is my prompting expertise with Claude.io, an AI that took my information and let me massage it so that it was meaningful to the ministry but it basically gave me the structure that I then formulated.
And yeah, and I think you could put your name at the end of it because you're the inventor. And it was beautiful. I've never seen anything written like that before.
Oh,
Marvelous.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. No, I wanted it to be meaningful, so I had to keep prompting it. It's like, nah, you almost got it, but let's try this because we feel this way about what we're up to. Yeah. So, yeah, thank you. And I had one last slide. If anybody has anything else, feel free to share. But I had one last slide. Go ahead.
Charlie was going to, you had someone that you had a poem from someone?
Oh, yeah, you had quotes.
It was a quote? Okay, I got that wrong.
Okay, let me dig it up here. Okay, so if anyone wants to look up Catherine Ponder, she's the most prolific writer on prosperity.
Is it with the
And here's
C or a
one
K?
Ponder, Ponder, Catherine with a C.
Catherine.
With a C? Gotcha.
And here's one of their quotes. I have unshakable faith in the perfect outcome of every situation in my life, for God is in absolute control. And then she has a lot more other quotes, but things like, when you hold resentment toward another, you are bound to that person or conditions by an emotional link that is stronger than steel. Forgiveness is the only way to dissolve that link and get free. Isn't that good stuff?
Nice.
Anyway, she's a wonderful, prolific writer on the subject of prosperity.
Beautiful. Yeah, and prosperity keeps coming up when we talk about abundance. So we have somebody Yvonne has recommended that was a former member of Madonna Ministry.
I think that she was, but
Okay.
I'm not 100%.
But she did this whole exercise that we're actually checking out and is on abundance for prosperity. So we'll have her come on if she's willing.
If she's willing, yeah.
To come and teach a class on it, or otherwise, if she gives us permission, we'll do it. But just wanted to leave you. Go ahead.
Many years ago at Terry Riley's home, we had conducted a meeting on prosperity.
Ah. Oh.
And her son, who was about 8 years old at the time, came into our meeting, and he had this kind of gun, and he said, "This is a debt buster. Boom, 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 got rid of debt." So anyway, it was a fun meeting, and it was well done.
Very good.
That's funny.
Little Kevin. All right. Well, let me just share this. I want to have this for the recording. So Kevin, keep this in. Some ways to participate in the ministry if you're inspired by anything you heard today.
Can you make it larger?
Yes.
For those that are, their faces up at their computer screen. Thanks.
Very good.
Yeah. So these group exercises like we just did with Yvonne and the gratitude circle, get the group tapped into the vibration of already experiencing and expressing infinite abundance from multiple angles in a compressed time frame. So we come at it from what's true for us as individuals and then talk about how it fits into the collective as a synchronous kind of thing. So other ways to participate in the Madonna Interfaith community is to feed yourself weekly, put the mask on yourself first and attend these Sunday services, practice self-love. We've got a lot of information on the website. We have YouTube videos of different self-love practices and manifestation practices, as well as our Sunday services. Come and speak at Sunday services. We're open to any belief system, as long as you respect others and allow for us to believe what we believe. You can come and have a say in what you want to share to the world. You can write a blog post or record a video insight that we can share on our website and or our YouTube channel. Submit your services to the directory listing. We're working with Sally B on a class that she's producing right now. She's going to be one of the first, and we've got Shirley's class ready to be put up on the internet. And we're going to be producing some others from the rest of us as well. And invite other souls to visit or join. Just, there's no commitment required. Just come, see if it resonates with you, and come back as often as you want. If you choose to join, all the better. And if you want to provide a service, of course, that's going to be reflected on nicely. We appreciate that. And then host and record in-person events, do drum circles like Laura, book clubs like Charlie used to do, and conferences. We want to think about maybe doing a physical conference again within the next few months. So let's keep our thinking hats on. Know we've got a potential venue in Vermont from Laura, and possibly other places as well. So keep that in mind and reach out, ask, suggest. It's our outreach and marketing committee is getting bigger, and people are becoming more interested in doing a little bit more for the ministry. With that,
So,
yeah.
Nikki, one of the things that has been our greatest contribution to people that come into the ministry is our sacrament of empowerment.
Mm,
And that should never be overlooked,
okay.
because we absolutely help people achieve something that's been latent in their life and to bring it forth into expression.
Hmm.
That's such a powerful gift that nobody else I know is doing it.
Yeah, that's a really good point, because I kind of look at my life cycles as decade cycles, if you were. You need to put a number on it. Every decade, my life has shifted a little bit, with kids, without kids, having access to other people's kids or not. And now in the science field and the futurist field, it's like really adult stuff. And Cindy, I really want to acknowledge you having the fear, because you've got kids in your life every single day. And mine are distant. I'm hearing about it, but I'm not actually acting with young children these days. And so I hear stories of brilliant kids that are solving problems. I literally did a youth podcast on what's the next generation and how are you going to solve the problems we committed to this planet, because we don't see it. We just don't have the capacity to wrap our head around it. So we're asking you as our youth to come up with the next solutions. And in the sustainability realm, there are kids in
Right.
high school and college that are gathering and saying, we need to clean the ocean. We need to clean up the rivers. We need to, reforest, or we need to build agricultural things that are local. And so they're
Mhm.
solving some of these problems, and I'm really enthused about that. But then I do hear the story of the other side, where the kids aren't being conditioned or trained or educated. So that's scary. I agree.
Hmm.
But Charlie, I love that. Achieving something latent in life, because I've evolved a half a dozen times in my life. I tell people I'm on my 5th or 6th career by now.
Yeah. But
It's
the
all good.
actual ceremony we perform
Mhm.
brings in uh, isn't artificial intelligence, it's universal intelligence.
Yes.
And that's so helpful. What are we talking about next week?
Next week is Terry. She comes the 4th Sunday of every month. So we'll have another guided meditation and or teaching. And I think what I put on this one, because she's done presence, I think, for 3 or 4 weeks in a row, or 3 or 4 months in a row. On this one, I might have put either an abundance or a manifestation spin on it. So we'll see what she comes up with. If you
Great.
have a suggestion, she's open. She's asking us to suggest anything to bring to the table. All right. Anything else?
I just wanted to add the proposal to the Spiritualist Church to do the awakening process has been accepted. And Sally and I are getting together and we're going to combine 2 classes at a time, because they didn't really want to spin it out for 6 weeks. So we're trying to put 3 weeks together that we could get together with both of our schedules. And it will be like on a Sunday afternoon for 3 or 4 hours. And they're really excited. They will video it. So it's ready to roll. Everybody keep your fingers crossed. We can come up with 3 weeks before they open camp, because camp opens in July.
Oh,
Yeah, so usually when camp opens, I mean, they still have their services, but a lot of people take off and go to camp for Sunday afternoon. So we want to get that in. I know what my schedule is. I'm just waiting to talk to Sally tomorrow in the pool
Awesome.
and we will come up with dates. So
Yeah,
that's the
that's a
update.
great one. I should have put that on the slide. Meet in the pool.
Meeting in the pool. Yes, the pool has become
Mhm.
our meeting place. And some days we even have the pool to ourselves with the
Awesome.
lifeguard there. But yeah, so we're going to be looking at dates tomorrow, and they're excited. We're excited. I
Yeah.
don't know how many of them we're going to be able to bring Shirley to with her illnesses lately,
Mhm.
but we'll drag her when we can because she is the creator.
B says she'll have room next year for a conference. Woohoo!
Yoo-hoo!
Yay. Very
I love
good.
Oregon.
All right. Yes. Summertime.
Summertime.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. If you're outside of 40 degrees of the equator, I probably won't see you unless it's summertime. All right. Thanks, everybody. I so appreciate you. Everybody's
you.
input was wonderful this week. I so appreciate that. I was counting on it because we kind of made this makeshift at the last minute. All right. Have a great
And
week.
also,
Have a blessed week.
I was
Yeah.
just
Have
gonna
a great
say,
week,
people,
everyone.
Yeah,
do
yeah.
you have something for the following Sunday?
Yes, we have Terry coming in. She's going to provide a.
Yes, but the one after?
That one's open. It's either going to be, hopefully, Paula's going after Sharon Coutier and either
Cloutier, yeah.
Coulier. Okay.
Cloutier.
Cloutier. Okay.
Cloutier. Yeah, I think Laura's the only one that knows Sharon.
Okay. Okay.
Shirley might know her. I mean, Sally might know her. Yeah,
Okay,
Sally
great.
knows her too. Never mind. Anyway, I'm waiting for a date from her. She's
All right.
away. When she comes back, she will give me a date and I will let you know.
Okay. Perfect.
Sounds great.
Very good.
Thanks so much. Talk
Thanks.
soon. Have a great
Bye.
week. Bye.
Love you all.